Hello, I'm Jeff Rosen, District Attorney of Santa Clara County. Please watch my upcoming interview on Yo India TV.
Hi everyone, I am with the Santa Clara County District Attorney Jeff Rosen, and he is running again in 2022. Welcome sir to Yo India TV, and 2022 has just begun. How's the feel?
The campaign is going very well. I've gotten tremendous support from the Indian community, from Hindus, from Sikhs, from Jains, from Muslims, from everyone from India. And we have so many people from India in our county, and it's part of what makes our county a wonderful place.
Hindus and Jews and Sikhs and Jains, we have a lot in common. We value education, hard work. We're from ancient civilizations that have been around for thousands of years, that have contributed much to humanity. We honor our traditions and want to pass those on to our children. We believe in kindness and practice that. We have similar adversaries, and our adversaries are similar because we are similar in terms of our outlook towards the world of being open and respectful and tolerant and pluralistic.
Gentleman that drove his car to the pedestrian on the Sunnyvale area, and that the people was, unfortunately, they were Sikh people, and he thought they are Muslim. So, like, kind of with the he drove them, and the media tried to with the cover. You know, it can be accident, or you know that maybe he been unconscious, maybe he was drunk or something like that. But Jeff was very strict, and then he says, no, this is hate crime, and then we are not going to let in our Santa Clara County this happen again.
I have been reading about you and seeing like so many reforms, especially in the criminal justice area, that you have been carrying out, you know, especially in relation to the internal policies and practices, the community benefit, and you know, the police misconduct investigation, and also about getting rid of the death penalty in some cases, you know, the systemic changes that you have worked on. So it's a big list, and I was really impressed, you know, and a lot of cases also from Stanford and others related to the rape and the petty thefts, etc. So tell us, like, what are your major accomplishments?
I think the major accomplishments that I've had are keeping crime low, keeping people safe, while at the same time not using as much jail or incarceration. So what I think all of us want is both a low crime rate and as few people in jail as possible. And we've been able to do that because I have very good relations with the police department, and we work very hard to have good relationships with everyone in our community. And in a place like Santa Clara County, where so many people were not born in the United States, it's really important to have a DA's office that looks like the community. I have a very diverse office, a number of Indian prosecutors and investigators and supervisors.
The supervisor of our South County office in Morgan Hill and Gilroy is Vishal Bathija, and our supervisor of our issuing team, which reviews more than 30,000 police reports a year to decide whether to file charges or what charges to file, is Sandeep Patel. And both Vishal and Sandeep, I did not hire or promote them because they were Indian or because they were Hindu. I hired and promoted them because they are excellent, and they're smart, and they're hardworking, and they're dedicated. That's why.
During the last 10 years that I've been the district attorney, I've taken affirmative, proactive steps to increase the number of minorities and women in our office. Today, half of our office are women, half of the managers in our office are women, 40% of our prosecutors are African American, Latino, Asian American, or LGBTQ.
That's wonderful, and I saw the picture, you know, it looks really diverse and beautiful. So when you're talking talking about people of color, you're talking about diversity. Tell us like what you have actually done for the community of color.
Sure. So for communities of color, we've really reduced the use of incarceration. So when I began as DA 10 years ago, we had about 5,000 people in our jail. The vast majority were people of color. Today we have fewer than 2,500 people in jail. So we have a lot fewer people of color in jail. And for juvenile crime, when I took office, we had 400 young people in juvenile hall or in custody. 80 or 90% were of color. Today we only have 70. So that's what I say, where we reduce the numbers of people that we put in jail, we help communities of color. And the other way that we help communities of color is by having prosecutors that work directly in communities that are impacted by crime. And we have a team in our office that serves victims of crime. And while it's true that many perpetrators of crime are from communities of color, most of the victims of crime are also from communities of color. So we do a lot of work to help them.
I've been a believer and an activist for a long time in trying to reduce the footprint of the criminal justice system. I mean, I certainly understand that there's an urgency, but it's also something that I think needs to be done thoughtfully so that it works. And I would just point out, in Santa Clara County, we've cut our jail population by more than half since I've been district attorney. So sometimes there's movements that you hear about where it says, let's cut the incarceration rate by 50%. Well, we've done that in Santa Clara County. We've not only reduced the numbers of people that are incarcerated, but we've kept the crime rate very low.
And I saw your parent program, which has really been really successful. Over 3,000 parents participated, and the dropout rate from the high schools has reduced, the drug usage rate has reduced, and a lot of illicit activities have come down. So tell us a little more about that.
So one thing I know as the DA is that if someone drops out of high school, there's a very high chance that that person will be in jail or prison before they're 30. And I know that if we increase the high school graduation rate by 10%, we reduce by 20% violent crimes. So that would mean, dozens of fewer murders in our county, hundreds of fewer assaults. So I do everything I can to try to keep kids in school. And the Parent Project that you mentioned is been offered in many languages throughout our county. It's for parents of teenagers who are beginning to go down the wrong path towards drugs or gangs. And once a teenager gets on that path, it's very hard to get them off. So we try to strengthen families with the Parent Project. It's a free program. It's taught by police officers, prosecutors, probation officers, and we've had tremendous success with it.
I tried everything that I knew as a parent, and having read many parenting books and taken many parenting classes, I was still finding that I wasn't getting results. And so when I had to start having police intervention, I knew that things were somewhat out of control.
And Silicon Valley, as we are standing here, it's a land of innovation, it's a land of technology, it's a land of entrepreneurs. So how has DA been helping on the technology front?
So first of all, in many ways, the whole ethos of Silicon Valley being about innovation is something I've tried to bring into the DA's office. And I go around and ask all the prosecutors in my office, do you think that we are the Google, the Microsoft, the Apple, the Facebook of DA's offices? And most of them understand this. One prosecutor said, well, our computers aren't as good. I said, no, you don't understand what I'm saying. Are we a place of innovation? Yes. I'll give you a couple examples. We have a crime strategies unit. In the same way that companies and the military use data to build better products, we use data to catch and solve more crimes. We collect data from all of the police departments in our county, and we mine that data for information, and we use it to solve gun crimes, organized crime, and to stop retail robberies. Another area that we've used data is when people are convicted of crimes and they successfully complete their sentence, they can get that that conviction expunged, but we need software that will expunge and remove that conviction from all the different databases. So we in our own office wrote the software code to do that. And I was very proud of that. And I thought, well, it's Silicon Valley. Of course we'll write the software.
I have a question about gun safety and gun violence. It is on the increase. We all observed a couple of years ago what happened in the local transportation district. What are your suggestions how we can curb it, and what can us as a Hindu community do to curb this trend?
We have used more gun violence restraining orders than any county than all the other counties in the Bay Area combined. Here's what a gun violence restraining order is. When somebody calls the police and says, my neighbor, my friend, my relative is talking about hurting himself or other people and he has a lot of guns, I think he's dangerous, the police can come out, you can be kept anonymous, and the district attorney's office works very quickly, and I mean within a few hours, to go to court and get a restraining order to temporarily remove those guns. We have done this hundreds of times, and I can assure you that we have saved hundreds of lives by doing this. And the other thing we do is work very hard. We find that often one gun is used to commit multiple crimes. And so we use technology, we run the crime laboratory, we collect all of the guns and all of the bullets that are used at any crime scene, and we put them into a database. It's like DNA, and we're able to connect those guns and bullets to crimes that are committed all over the county and the Bay Area, and able to much more quickly arrest the individuals that are involved.
So, your opponent, Sajid Khan, he has been talking about the 14 and 15-year-old people, the teenagers, the non-adult group, how they have been exposed to the criminal system in the same way as the adults. So tell us a little more about how you're going to handle that situation.
Sure. So 14 and 15-year-olds are not prosecuted as adults. There's a state law that changed that. And number one, as I said, when I took office, we had 400 juveniles incarcerated in jail or in juvenile hall. Today, we only have 70, and that's because of policies I pursued to have juveniles that are not violent or a threat to public safety to be safely released from custody. Now, a major difference between myself and the person you mentioned is that for juveniles that are 16 or 17 years old and have committed murder, attempted murder, gang rape, individuals like that, I do ask a judge to transfer them to adult court because they're so dangerous. And that doesn't happen often, but in the last 5 years, out of more than 10,000 juvenile cases, there are 15 or 16 where we've asked a judge to have that person go to adult court. And those are for very violent offenses. Because, of course, remember, Ghislaine, if your loved one was murdered, you don't care whether the person who did that was 25 or 17 years old. You want justice. And unfortunately, when 17-year-olds are going around with assault rifles looking to murder people, and they do, that's very dangerous. I have to protect the public, and so we will seek to have them in adult court.
The legislation that I proposed is basically to make the punishment the same. So whether you rape or sexually assault a conscious person or an unconscious person, it's the same penalty. And so judges would still have discretion, but it would be how many years in prison. It would be 3 years, 6 years, or 8 years in prison. So there would still be an opportunity for judges to exercise discretion, but judges would know that the community understands these are very serious crimes.
And just this Monday, the California State Assembly passing a bill inspired by Turner's sentence to impose harsher penalties for similar assaults.
That's wonderful. So, what are 3 pitch points that you would like to make to the viewers that why should Jeff Rosen be re-elected in 2022?
Because I practice reform that works. And reform that works are things that both lower crime and lower the number of people that are in jail. I've been very focused on crimes against women We very vigorously prosecute sexual assault and domestic violence, which affects women in all communities and all socioeconomic backgrounds. We've built family justice centers to help women. We've worked with community-based organizations like My Tree, which is a South Asian women's group that helps other South Asian women who have been domestic violence victims. So we're very focused on helping women. I believe that when a society raises up the standard and the status of women, it makes the whole society better. So I focus on reducing crime, on keeping as few people in jail as possible, and on raising up the status of women.
Wonderful. And may I tell you that Jeff Rosen has a long list of endorsements, and this is one next endorsement, and we are here with the Americans for Hindus, which is a PSC, and they are supporting Jeff Rosen with full heart. So look forward to your victory one more time. Look forward to the wonderful accomplishments to continue, and you serving the community on and on in the coming future as well. Thank you so much, Jeff, for speaking with Yo India TV.
Thank you very much. Shalom, namaste, peace.
We had the meeting and officially we have endorsed Jeff Rosen. And on behalf of all of you, the maximum $2,000, I'm going to request Manshi Sharma and Satish Wale, Chandru Bhamra, Rajesh Verma, and who else is here? Vikram Paul. Please come forward.